How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, on location at the Klipsch Music Center in Noblesville, Indiana, and this is Tré Cool of Green Day.
Hello. How are you? I'm good.
I'm gonna have to place this microphone in.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
But man, I want to
Welcome to my stage.
thank you very much. First off, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk shop with me.
Well, you know, Sweetwater, it's basically like the coolest catalog in the world. I grew up in a very rural area, and you know, we basically would look at catalogs and circle stuff and be like, hey, you know, maybe Santa will buy me this year. And there's like the Sears catalog, but the holy grail, the ultimate, is the Sweetwater catalog. And you guys still make catalogs, and I think that's just, you got to ask for it. But they still make.
They call it like a book now. It's this thick.
It's nasty. It's great. You should get it. Put it in your bathroom, and God knows what you do when you're in there with that thing alone. But it's wonderful.
Agreed. Now, we're totally excited because we have SJC on board now.
Yeah.
And Mike Ciapari and Scott, they've built a super cool brand, and they make great product. What is it about their sound that you got drawn to?
Well, it first started with a snare drum that was brought in the studio when we were recording, and I was checking it out, and I was like, wow, this is really cool stuff. And, you know, I would go to like NAMM or you know, some of the drum shows sometimes and start seeing like some of the more boutique companies, and I thought, you know, it's cool, you know, guys are hand making drums. And then SJC just sort of really rose to the top. They made a kit for me, this aluminum kit, we call it the beer can kit, and then from that I was just like sprung on these guys. I was endorsed by someone else at the time, and then they started, you know, bringing more kits. Like they brought another kit, the Drunk Bunny kit.
It's creative names for your drum kits.
Yeah, and that thing just sounded just super nasty. Like right off the bat, it's like, oh man, this sounds like John Bonham. Right. I love it. So, I just started falling in love with their sound, and then I met Mike, and you know, it was a total bromance from there. And it's just really good to you know, and I've been to the factory and to see them just make these things by hand and the care they take. It's very old school. It's not like some big factory or some, you know, cranked out product. They're making instruments.
Yeah. Mike told me that you've been to each other's weddings.
That's true. We have.
That's cool. That's not drum talk, but that's cool relationship.
There were SJC drums at the weddings, so.
That's awesome. Now, if I read correctly, for the recording of the Revolution Radio record, you used a mahogany kit.
Right.
And this is a maple kit on stage. So what's the difference? Why do you have maple live and mahogany in the studio? Do you like the warmth difference for recording and the punch for live?
Yeah, well, the mahogany kit I have for the studio is like a naked kit with no wrap, and this one has a bit of a wrap on it. And I think the maple kind of opens up little wider notes and like longer overtones. And you know, it's versatile. So what I was going for on Revolution Radio was that kind of more, I guess, not like a vintagey sound, but it's unique.
Yeah.
It's sounding.
Well, the drum sounds are really punchy, and you have some really tight sounding songs and some with lots of ambience and nice room sound, so the drums sound great on the recordings.
Yes, it's mics in a drum kit. There's no tricks to it. It's just SJC and a bunch of bitchin' mics, which you sell in your catalog.
And online, you bet.
Yeah.
Now, you've always had this setup. I mean, I think I've seen you play other rack toms in the past, but are you always traditionally a one rack tom, two floor tom sort of setup?
Yeah, for years, since like 95.
Okay. And same in the studio, I imagine, as well, yeah?
Yeah. Except sometimes in the studio, if I know I'm not going to use a rack tom, I'll just take it away so I'm not looking at it and it's not ringing and stuff.
Make you want to hit it.
Yeah. I see, I hit.
And how's the tour going for you guys so far? You've been on the road for a while now. We're supporting this record. How's it been going?
This is the best tour we've ever been on. We're playing big places and people know the songs. Playing 6 new songs, so it's just great. Like, we're just blessed to be able to come out here and do what we love and be with our friends, and it's awesome.
I did see some of your tour schedule. You're playing Wrigley Field coming up soon, the Rose Bowl in Southern California. I'm from Southern Cal, and I'm playing. That's got to be just an enormous gig.
It is, and we just played the Oakland Coliseum, which was our hometown gig, and
yeah.
that was amazing. Got to ride my motorcycle in for the gig, and just sleep in my own bed. So
you still calling Northern Cal home?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, you've been a long-time Zildjian guy as well.
Oh yeah.
What is it about their cymbals that you love?
And sticks.
That's right. You have your own sticks.
Yeah, they're well. First of all, the sticks. I decided a long time ago. I said, well, Zildjian makes drumsticks, and I love Zildjian cymbals. So I bet if you hit a Zildjian drumstick on a Zildjian cymbal, it's got to be some very special, unique, like incestuous kind of sound. And well, it sounds like a stick hitting a cymbal, but Zildjian cymbals are obviously the best. It's the oldest family-run company in the world, and they've got some secret recipe that they don't show anybody, and it's pretty it's magic metal, you know.
Totally.
You could play jazz or metal.
Yeah, you can play anything with those
Or
cymbals.
rock, yeah.
That's right. And a longtime Remo guy as well.
Yeah, Remo's been great. Their heads are obviously the best. I could play any heads. I could play any cymbals. I could play any drums. I choose SJC, Zildjian, and Remo. And not just because I'm used to them, because I do shootouts and I do try other stuff, and I always come back to the same stuff.
That's great. Now, do you get into, going back to the drums for a second, do you get into the nitty-gritty details of the build? Do you ask Mike and the guys about the edges and the plies? I mean, do you get into those kind of details when you have your kits made?
I'm learning not to and just let SJC do it because they're experts. I had an idea to mess with some bearing edges on a kit, and it didn't come out as good as I'd like. And then I was, okay, you guys just do your thing, and it came and it was perfect. So they know what they're doing.
That's for sure. Well, listen, I mean, thanks again for your time. This is great. We're really excited to see the show tonight.
Yeah.
And you are welcome anytime to come to Sweetwater. You and the band, hopefully we'll get you guys there sometime. I think you'd love to see the place. It's enormous. It's a huge campus. A lot of stuff going on there.
To be honest, I was going to go yesterday, and it was like we are going to ride motorcycles up there, and it was just too damn hot and a little bit far from Fort Wayne to Indianapolis. But we will get there.
We'll make it happen one day for sure.
Yeah, man. Hey, and when you're stage diving, try and land flat. Don't go feet first.
Right. I'll make sure I remember that. Now, this is I've read your size. Your sizes of your drums seem to be similar a lot. 13-inch rack tom, 16 and 18. Mm-hmm. Big booming sounds. Have you stayed with this setup for a long time as far as the sizes of the drums?
I used to use a 14 up there,
okay.
And I found the 13 does the job, and it's a little less high.
Right. 18 by 22-inch kick drum, yeah?
Yeah. Big boomy.
And your aluminum snare drum, this is your own snare drum.
Yeah.
And you have a few of them here.
The bearing edge here.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of knock, a lot of low end, a lot of crack. It's the perfect snare drum, and it's really easy to get a good sound out of it. Isn't that right, Nathaniel? Yeah.
Very cool. The guys here wanted me to ask you, since you're a fan of the Sweetwater catalog, what is it that you look up most of the time on the Sweet? Do you always look at drums first? Or do you go to other stuff to kind of, since you play drums all the time?
Pro audio, also the mics. Mics are really fun.
Yeah.
Because we play acoustic instruments, so microphones are kind of our link to the recording.
Sure.
So it's the portal.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you got some DPAs on the toms. Mm-hmm. Neumann.
That's a secret weapon here.
Okay.
That's the Telefunken M80.
We love Telefunken. We do great business with Telefunken. They're a fantastic company.
Forget about a 57, guys. That's what you want on your snare.
We use those in our recording studios every day.
Yeah? That's what's up.
414, so you get a nice big bright punch.
Overhead,
Yeah.
You get everything. We could turn everything off except those, and it'd sound great.
And it's the same setup no matter a huge stadium or inside a theater.
Yeah, and you got to mic your cowbell, dude.
Of course.
Your cowbell.
Remember that, everybody. You got to mic the cowbell.
Although I don't mic this.
How often do you use the bell in the show? Is it only special occasion?
You'll see.
Is it a surprise?
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks so much for all this great information.
Well, thanks a lot.
All right, man.
See you later. No, I want that.
Okay. See you later.
Bye. So, Jason Fries, what's your favorite thing when you're looking at the Sweetwater catalog?
I enjoy Pro Audio. I do.
What in particular?
I like a lot of the interfaces for Pro Tools and Logic. I do like the A to D, D to A converters. It's nice learning about that stuff, and maybe a lot like the plugins, the assortment of plugins. I can learn about all the different plugins that I never knew about in the Sweetwater catalog.
So, what about the Sweetwater catalog? What's your centerfold of the catalog? What really gets you going?
I'm going to have to say probably guitar pedals, which I usually don't use and I have really no use for, but I love all the wacky guitar pedals and the names of the companies for these guitar pedals. Some of the names are a little risque. I don't know how they get away with that, especially I think you'd have to put like a censored thing over the Sweetwater, like a...
It's Dirty Water.
Dirty Water.
Yeah, it's like naming a restaurant in Austin, Texas.
Exactly. Either that or I really like going to the plugins because I learned about lots of plugins I didn't know existed until I opened up the Sweetwater catalog.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Jason Fries.
Oh, you know what else I do like? I do like that I always have a rep from Sweetwater calling my house, making sure that I am satisfied with their service and their catalogs because I get that call a lot. And I do have to say, I've never got that from any other company, and I do like that they're proactive with calling me and making sure that I'm satisfied.
You don't get that every day. You don't get that with the car mechanic.
You don't get that with the car mechanic.
You don't get that with other guitar-based music services.
That's what I like to call old-fashioned customer service, done the right way. That's lost. That's lost these days. Everything's an email or a text. Not Sweetwater. They actually call you personally.
From Indiana.
From Indiana.
All right. Well, Tré Cool and Jason Fries from Green Day signing off.